Hey everybody, let's talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. So I'm not going to go too crazy in detail, just a very basic understanding of what's important about parallel and perpendicular lines, what do they look like. So the important thing to know about parallel lines is they are going to have the same slope. So we know if two lines are parallel, they are going to have the exact same slope. Meanwhile, perpendicular lines, their slopes are going to be, so slopes are what we call opposite reciprocals. Opposite reciprocals. So parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have something that we call opposite reciprocals. So what does that mean? Let's say I have a slope of 2/3, 2 over 3. The opposite reciprocal of that means the opposite part is just change the sign. So if it's positive, it's going to be negative. If it's negative, it's going to be positive. That's the opposite part. So since 2/3 is positive, my new slope is going to be negative. And reciprocal, what that means is we're going to take the reciprocal of this, which means just flip it. Instead of 2 over 3, we're going to have 3 over 2. So the opposite reciprocal of 2 over 3 is negative 3 over 2. So I could tell you what parallel and perpendicular lines look like, but instead I want to make a few graphs just showing you what parallel lines look like and what perpendicular lines look like. So for my first problem here, I'm going to graph the following. So I have y equals 3x minus 7 and y equals negative 1 over 3x plus 4. So just looking at these, I'm looking at the slopes. The slope of my top line is 3. The slope of my bottom line is negative 1 over 3. Remember, this top one is like 3 over 1. So looking at them, I already know they're not the same slope, so I know I don't have parallel lines. But if I take 3 over 1, flip it, and take the negative of it, I have negative 1 over 3. So these should be perpendicular lines. So I'm going to real quickly graph this. Y equals 3x minus 7. So that means we're going to have a y-intercept down at negative 7. And I'm going to go up 3 over 1. Up 3 over 1. Up 3 over 1. You get the point, up 3 over 1. Once I have that, this is my first line, I can take an ID or ruler, anything that's straight, line them up, and there's my first line. I'm going to graph my second line now, which is y equals negative 1 over 3x plus 4. So I'm going to have a y-intercept up here at positive 4, then down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3. If I go the opposite direction, up 1 to left 3, so on and so forth. And I can take an ID, anything straight, and come up with that line. Now, these are perpendicular lines. What they're going to do is they're going to crisscross. And it's going to crisscross perfectly at a T. You'll get into it more in geometry, but other things is if you know it, this is going to be a 90-degree angle. But that's something more you talk about in geometry. So those are perpendicular lines. Here's what parallel lines look like. So I have y equals 2x minus 8, y equals 2x plus 4. Notice the slopes are the same. So I'm going to real quickly graph this so you can see what this looks like. Y-intercept at negative 8, slope of 2. So here we are at negative 8, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And line that up and fill it in. And then my other line I'm going to do in red, which is y equals 2x plus 4. So starting with a y-intercept at 4, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Can go to the left side, down 2, left 1, down 2, left 1. There's enough points there. Can line it up. And there we go. And those are parallel lines. Okay? So they're not the same line, they're different lines. These are never going to intersect. So perpendicular, they intersect at one point. Parallel lines, they're never going to intersect because their slopes are the same. So we're going to apply some ideas of parallel and perpendicular lines. Two problems here on the back. So I'm going to draw a line that is parallel to y equals 3x minus 7. That's going to go through the point 2, 3. And we need to write the equation of this line. So I have this point 2, 3. I can plot that really quick. 2, 3. But parallel, again, that means they have the same slope. So my original line, the slope of this is 3, the number in front of x. So if I want something parallel to this, I want the same slope, which is also 3. So I have a point here, and I have a slope, 3 or 3 over 1. Why don't I go ahead and graph the rest of my line, and then I can come back and finish these questions. So I need to go up 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1, 1, 2, 3 over 1. And I could go the opposite direction, down 3 to the left 1, down 3, left 1, down 3, left 1. And that's enough points. Take my ID, line them up, and I have my new line. All that we need to do is figure out b, which is my y-intercept, and then I can come up with an equation. So I am crossing the y-axis at negative 1, 2, 3, negative 3. So I'm going to write my equation. I'm going to write it of the form y equals mx plus b. So y equals 3x minus 3. One more problem for us here. Draw a line that is perpendicular to y equals 4x plus 1 through the point negative 4, 2. So I'm going to need to use this idea of perpendicular. We might be able to use that. So negative 4, 2, left 4, up 2. So we're through this point. So perpendicular, again, that means the slopes are opposite reciprocals. So my original slope is 4 over 1. So if I take that, I need to flip it and change the sign. So instead of 4 over 1, I'm going to have 1 over 4. And it was positive, so now I'm going to have negative. If it was originally negative, it would now be positive. So I need to apply the slope of negative 1/4 to this point. So I need to go, because it's negative, I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 4. Down 1, right 4. Down 1, right 4. Down 1, right 4. Take any ruler, straight edge, whatever you got. Line them up. And there you go. All I need to do is come up with my equation. Again, we're going to go for y equals mx plus b. My y-intercept, so we're across the y-axis, is at positive 1. So I can write down that. And my entire equation is going to be y equals negative 1 over 4x plus 1. Remember, parallel slopes, they're going to be the exact same. Perpendicular, opposite reciprocal. Change the sign and then flip it. And that is parallel and perpendicular lines.